Okay, good morning. At this point, dapat napag-aralan nyo na yung Session 0 PowerPoint of Probability. For these sessions, no, for the next couple of sessions, we'll be talking about applications of your counting techniques that we have learned over the last few weeks, pero in the context of probability, right? So, ito mga nasa screen ang objectives natin ngayong araw. Right. Let's start with talking about some of the items from your entry ticket. Number one, if the probability of event A happening is 4 over 13, then what what are the odds in favor of event A happening? No? Tandaan natin, pag sabi probability, computationally speaking, that's the number of desired outcomes over the number of total possible outcomes. So, kung ang probability na mangyayari si A ay 4 over 13, that means favorable, therefore, favorable events, if you think about it like that, out of 13 possibilities. So 4 over 13. Now, if A can happen in 4 ways, successfully, no? And there are 13 possible ways that, in particular, in this context, that can happen, then what is the probability that A doesn't happen? So 4 out of 13 mangyayari si A. Ano yung probability na hindi mangyayari si A? So that's 13 less 4. No? That's 9. Which means 9 out of 13 ang probability na hindi mangyayari si A. So the odds therefore in favor of event A happening is 4 is to 9. Tandaan natin pag in-express natin ng odds, it's the number of favorable outcomes expressed as a ratio to the number of unfavorable outcomes. Okay? So, yan. So, 4 is to 9. There you go. Next. Ayan, 4 is to 9. Ayan, 4 is to 9. Odds in favor of A. Of course, if you want to ask what are the odds against A, babaliktarin mo lang. No? Against A, uunahin mo yung number of possibilities that A doesn't happen. So the odds against A should be the reciprocal of 4 to 9. That will be 9 to 4 odds against A. Okay? Next, given that our situation is tossing a coin 3 times rather, ano ang probability that 3 heads come up? No? If you draw a diagram of your event, it will look like this. No? In fact, computationally, by your counting principle, at each time that the coin is tossed, there are 2 possibilities, head or tails. No? So the first toss times the second toss, number of possibilities by the second toss, times the number of possibilities for the third toss. So 2 times 2 times 2, kaya 8 talaga ang ating possible outcomes dito. No? Ito silang lahat. So if you look at that, then probability of tossing 3 heads would be what? Ito lang naman siya out of 8 possibilities. So that will be 1 of 8. 1 over 8. 2 heads and a tail. 2 heads and a tail. Ito, isa to. 2 heads and a tail, ito rin. 2 heads and a tail, ito rin. Tatlo, no? Yan. So 3 over 8. At least 1 head daw. So yung 2 pwede. 1. Yung 3 pwede. Yung 2 pwede. Etc. No? 1 pwede rin. So you have 3, 2, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ito lang naman ang wala. No? So that should be 7 over 8. There you go. At walang heads at all. Ito, tatlong tails. Ibig sabihin, that's 1 out of 8. No? Very simple. Ito, lahat sa entry ticket ninyo. No? Now, a pouch contains 5 red marbles, 3 blue marbles, and 2 yellow marbles. No? Marbles are randomly drawn from this pouch, one at a time, and are not replaced back into the pouch. Hindi babalik, yung napili mo na. No? Una, let's look for the probability of picking a red one first, followed by a blue marble. So, red daw muna. Ito tayong red ink dito. Red. There you go. Now, ano probability na sa unang bunot mo, red ang iyong mapipili? Meron kang 5 red, tatlong blue at dalawang yellow. That's a total of 10 marbles in the pouch. Now, 5 of them are red. So if you're looking for the probability of picking a red one at the beginning, that's 5 possible reds out of a total 10 possible marbles. So that's 5 over 10 or 1/2 later on. Ano? Now, you're picking a red one and then followed by a blue one. And followed by a blue one. Ano? So let's use the blue ink here. Now, what is the chance, what is the probability now that you get a blue one on your next draw? O, ilan ba ang blue? Nakapili ka na ba ng blue? Hindi pa. So, ang blue marbles ko may tatlo. Yan, 3. Pero this time around, remember, they are not replaced back into the pouch. So, that means that you already picked one first at the beginning. So, that means there's one less marble in the pouch when you draw a second marble. That would mean that there will now only be 9. Siyam na lang yung iyong pagpipilian. Ano? Hence, the probability of picking a red one and then followed by a blue one. That's my hint. And then, no? And. That's the product of these two fractions. Of course, you can simplify these fractions before you execute the operation. Ano? There's going to be 1/2 here. There's going to be 1/3 there. So you have 1 out of 6. No? The probability of picking a red one followed by a blue one is 1 over 6. O, diba? Dali lang. Right. Next. Pouch contains, ay siya pa rin, ano? But now, let's find the probability of picking a yellow one first, a blue or red second, then yellow ulit a third time. Okay. So, let's start with the yellow one. Yellow. Ano probability na yellow ang unang draw? Ilan ba yellow in all? Dalawa. No? So, dalawa ang yellow mo. 2 out of 10. No? Then, next, ano mo daw, gusto mo ay either a blue or red marble. Blue or red. So, blue or red natin. Ano ang blue natin? 3. Red, 5. A marble cannot be both blue and red at the same time. So, that will be red marbles 5 and then you have your blue marbles 3. And since they cannot happen at the same time, okay lang i-add mo yan. Blue or red. No? Divided by, ilan na lang? Kasi nakabunot na ako ng isa kanina. Ilan na lang? Siyam na lang. No? And then, a yellow marble ulit a third time. But assuming that you already picked one in the first draw, the probability that you draw a yellow one in the third one, isa na lang yung natitira doon kasi nakuha mo ng isa. No? And then, how many marbles will be left behind? 8 na lang. Kasi meron ka ng first pick and second pick. No? And of course, you multiply these 3 because it's a first draw and the second and the third draw. Okay? Now, I leave the simplification to you, but that's the answer. No? The probability of picking a yellow one first, blue or red second, and a yellow marble third. Again, yung pag-simplify nito, kayo nang bahala. Ha? That's very grade 5. Kaya-kaya nyo na yan. Next. The probability of drawing, same situation, 2 red marbles or 2 blue marbles. No? 2 red marbles or 2 blue marbles. Now, question. Ano ang probability na ikaw ay makakuha ng dalawang red marbles? No, that's 2. Again, the idea here is that this is now separate from picking them one at a time. No? Look at this. No? Wala na ito, scrap na ito. Kasi you're drawing 2 red or 2 blue. No? But if you think about it like, sir, what does that mean? Are we drawing 4 balls in all? No. Ang tanong lang ay kapag bumunot ka pa rin ng dalawa at a time, ano? How many what is the probability that the balls that you draw are either both red or both blue? No? In fact, you can still think about it like this. My bad. No, scratch that. Balik natin yung one at a time. Pwede kasi you're drawing one at a time, no, successively, dalawang beses. Ang tinatanong lang naman nga pala, my bad, is to find the probability of drawing 2 red or 2 blue. So, let's first take the instance of what's the probability of drawing 2 red. No? There are 5 red in all. The probability that the first draw is red is 5 out of 10. Now, what is the probability the second one is also red? Nakakuha ka na ng isa so 9 na lang. And assuming na nakuha mo yung red ng una, 4 na lang yun nandyan. Tama? So this first product here is a probability of drawing 2 red marbles. Now, but what is the probability of drawing blue marbles? There are 3 blue marbles in all. And what if instead you're gunning for 2 blue? So that is 3 out of 10 for the first draw. The probability of drawing a blue marble on the first draw. And then, assuming nakakuha ka na ng isa, 2 na lang meron dyan out of the 9 because you already got the first one. No? Now, these 2 events, sabi probability of drawing 2 red or 2 blue marbles implies, by that word alone, addition. Now, again, I leave the simplification to you. No? This is your answer, 5/10 times 4 9ths plus 3/10 times 2 9ths. Now, this is a really important sort of kind of event. No? Itong pagdraw ng 2 red marbles and 2 blue marbles. No? Such events are described to be mutually exclusive or disjoint. No? Hindi sila pwede mangyari na sabay. You cannot draw tawag dito a marble that's both red and blue simultaneously. Hindi pwede. Such events are called mutually exclusive events. Okay? Balikan natin tong ating standard deck. At this point, dapat medyo master nyo na yan. Mga combos, ibig sabihin ng hand, etc. No? Number cards, aces, faces, suits. Now, given a standard deck of cards, where cards are drawn one at a time pa rin without replacement, hindi binabalik, what's the probability of getting an ace? Madali lang. Warm up lang to. An ace. How many aces are there in the standard deck? 4. That makes it 4 out of 52. Of course, in a test, you'll have to simplify that to 1/13. But again, I'll leave the simplification and, those basic stuff to you. A card that is not an ace. Now, by the way, an ace, that's an example of a simple event, drawing one card. Anong probability niya? It's not really, what do you call this? Compounded with a successive event, a next event, or a completely different event. No, it's just picking one ace. Okay? As opposed to ito, a card that is not an ace. If you already have an answer to the first one, an ace, it's 4 out of 52. A card that is not an ace, you can think about that by the idea of complements. No? Kasi your card, in terms of being an ace, only has 2 possibilities. Either you are an ace or you're not. No, again, in terms of being an ace, either you are an ace or you're not. Which means if if you wish to determine the probability that the card that you draw is not an ace, one option would be to count all non-aces and divide it by 52. Or remember that we can apply the idea of complements here and do 1 minus our answer in the first one. Or 40 or 52. Again, this is applying the idea of complements. No? Kasi nga, in terms of being an ace, you can only have 2 possibilities. Either you are or you aren't an ace. Now, how about an ace or a face card? Again, how many aces are there? You can look at it as 2 events. No? What's the probability of getting an ace? Sabi natin kanina, 452. How about a face card? How many face cards are there in all? Per suit, remember, there are 3, king, queen, jack. And there are 4 suits. So that's going to be a 12 out of 52. Now, of course, you add them, you get 16 out of 52. But this is the kind of an event, again, tulad sabi natin kanina, na mutually exclusive. Bakit? Ang pagiging ace at pagiging face card cannot happen at the same time. There's no such card as an, ace king, ace queen, ace jack. Wala. Okay? These are mutually exclusive events. Now, look at this next one. An ace and then followed by, ibig sabihin, 2 na yung binunot mo rito, a face card. Huh? Meron bang impact yung probability ng una, pagbunot ng ace, sa probability ng pangalawa? Followed by So, ang idea dito, successive yung bunot. Magmamatter ba sa second pick yung first pick? And the answer is yes. Because our situation here asserts that there is no replacement of cards. No? Ibig sabihin, pag nabawasan na ng isang card upon the first draw, then the probability of the next draws will be affected, definitely. Because there is one less card in the deck now. No? So, whatever you're targeting, iba na ang probability niya. So, in this case, an ace. What is the probability that we draw an ace? Again, parang ganito yan, ano? Followed by is an end statement. An ace is 4 out of 52. But what is the probability that you draw a face card after drawing your ace? How many face cards are there? 12. Pero ngayon, ilan na lang ang cards? Nag-ace ka na ng una eh. 51 na lang. 'Di ba? Ito yung klase naman ng events na tinatawag nating dependent. No, the successive events, the probability of the successive events are dependent on the previous ones kasi nababawasan yung cards mo eh. 'Di ba? And then look at this, an ace and then shuffling it back into the deck and the heart. Look at this, ha? An ace, pili ka ng isa. What's the probability that the first draw is an ace? Then you put it back, shuffle it, pick another one. What's the probability that the second one is a heart? Imagine, does the second probability have anything to do with the first? Will it be affected by the first? And the answer is no, because this time around, pwede mo ibalik. No? Sabi nung situation, pwede ibalik. So, walang kinalaman yung probability ng first sa probability ng second. No? And computationally, that would be, of course, your 4 over 52 pa rin, times, how about the probability of getting a heart? How many hearts are there? 13 out of 52. Pero, hindi ba 51 dapat, sir, ang denominator? Hindi. Kasi binalik mo nga yung una eh. So, this is 13 out of 52. Yeah? And this kind of an event, ang tawag naman natin dyan ay independent events. No, walang kinalaman yung second event doon sa previous. Kasi binalik mo eh, ni-reshuffle mo eh. 'Di ba? Unlike in the first one where there is no replacement. Yeah? Ito yung mga klase natin ng ng events in terms of probability. Now, what is the probability of getting an ace or a heart? Meron pa tayong dagdag pala dyan. Yan, ace or a heart. Now, question. What is the probability of getting an ace muna? Again, probability of getting an ace is 4 in 52. No? Or, already tells us, addition ito. Correct. A heart. What's the probability of drawing a heart? That's 13 in 52. Tama? Pero sir, may kulang. May problema. Bakit? Anong problema? Sir, meron kasi tayong ace na heart. No? At meron isa lang yan. One ace of heart. And the probability of drawing that is 1 in 52. And in fact, that ace of hearts is already counted here as well as here. So, nag-double count. So, to rectify that, we need to take away our 1 out of 52. Diba? Para hindi mag-double count. Ito kasi, yung ganitong example ng event, an ace or a heart, is what we refer to as an inclusive event. Kanina meron tayo mutually exclusive. No, ito yung kabaliktaran nun. Inclusive event. No, ibig sabihin, may pagkakataon na pwede silang mangyari simultaneously, like getting an ace and getting a heart. Because you can get an ace of hearts. But getting a jack and getting a getting a king, those are mutually exclusive. No, there's no such card na both king and jack at the same time. No? Now, we can recall our set theory, grade 7 yata nito, grade 8, to explain inclusive events, no? Let's say we're talking about the probability of the union of the two events. P, the probability of event A happening or B happening. Now, if you remember your basic set theory, the probability of the union itself is actually, you count the probability that A is gonna happen, probability of A. Look at this, the entire loop right there. And then we add to that the entire loop of B. No? The probability of B. Problema nga lang, meron ka nung intersection, you counted it twice. Diba? Yung intersection nila. And the idea is that to avoid that double counting, we remove that at the end. No? Sinusubtract natin yung intersection. Remember that symbol, intersection? No? So this is what we do when we are talking about inclusive events, no? pwede kasi sila mangyari sabay. And we don't want to double count. So, given a standard deck ulit, no? Drawn one at a time, without replacement, what is the probability of getting a red 4? Ooh, a red 4. How many red 4s are there? Ayan, no? 1, 2. 4 of hearts, 4 of diamonds out of 52. So that's 2 in 52. O, diba? Madali lang. King or a jack? Can they happen at the same time? Hindi pwede. Ilan ba ang kings mo? 4. Ilan ba ang jacks mo? 4. So it's like 2 times 4 over 52. No? Again, 4 over 52, dalawang beses. King or jack. Not a 9. Pwede mong gawin dyan na 48 over 52, matik, nagbilang ka, no? Brute force. Or, probability that you get a 9 is 4 in 52. Not a 9. You can also apply the idea of complements. That's 1 minus 4 out of 52. Either way is fine. Now, it's a probability that when you draw one without replacement, draw another, and both will be spades. Ilan ba spades? Ito, 13, 13, 13. If you draw one spade on the first draw, that's a probability of what? 13 out of 52. What is the probability that you draw another spade? Granting that you already drew one spade in the first draw, then that leaves you with 12 na lang out of 51 na lang na cards. So, that will be 13 out of 52 times 12 out of 51. O, diba? Dali lang. No problem. How about this? A bag contains tiles numbered from 1 to 14. A tile is drawn at random. Find the probability of selecting a 3 or a 4. Can that happen at the same time? 3 or a 4? No. Hindi pwede, no? So these are exclusive events, mutually exclusive events. Selecting a 3 is 1 in 14. Selecting a 4 is also 1 in 14. So that's 2 of those. 1 of 14 plus 1 of 14. How about selecting a prime number or a multiple of 4? Tingnan muna. Pwede ka ba maging prime and multiple of 4 at the same time? Hindi pwede. Because the multiples of 4 are composite numbers. Question, how many primes are there from 1 to 14? You have, list natin, parang di tayo that's 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. No, those are your primes. How about your multiples of 4? You have 4, 8, 12, hanggang 12 lang. No? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No? Yan yung ating total na number of possibilities. Selecting primes, ito sila. Multiples of 4, ayan sila. That means, ayan, 6 out of 14 plus 3 out of 14. No? Next, selecting a multiple of 2 and a multiple of 3. Uy, and a multiple of 3. Can a number be both a multiple of 2 and of 3? Yes, no, basic math dictates that will be a multiple of 6. And how many multiples of 6s are there from 1 to 14? Dalawa lang naman eh. 6 and 12, yeah? So that's gonna be 2 out of 14. Saan na yun? Yeah, 2 out of 14. And then selecting 5 or a number less than 8. There's a probability to select a 5. No? That's 5. Oh, sorry, not 5. That's gonna be a 1 out of 14. Or plus. A number less than 8. Uy, mas maliit sa 8. So, 1 to 7. 7 yun. 7 of 14. No? Problema, nasa 7 of 14 din si 5. So, kailangan natin bawasan to ng isa pang 1 of 14. Tama? So that we don't double count. There you go. So, it's not just like 7 out of 14. No problem. Napakadali. Now, let's wrap it up. Sabi natin, ano? In symbols, P of A means the probability that A occurs. P of A prime is its complement, the probability that it doesn't occur. No? Probabilities only range from 0 to 1. Remember, an event with 0 probability is an impossible event, and a probability of 1 means it's a certain event. Sureball, kumbaga. No? Independent events, no? The events happening A and B, that's the product of the two probabilities. If you have mutually exclusive or disjoint events, walang intersection yan. So you can just add them. The probability of one happening or the other happening. Now, for inclusive events on the other hand, kailangan mo tanggalin yung intersection sa ilalim because you don't want to double count, of course. Yeah? Pretty simple lesson. Ito mga tasks na kailangan gawin. FA1B by Monday. 2A by Monday also. FA. Tomorrow, home study task, worksheet. Tignan lang yung posting. No? And then, of course, go through the session 2 asynchronous PowerPoint in preparation for Monday. Right? I'll be in the call if you need to ask something. Thank you.